Alright, well, hello everyone. Welcome to another new draft league. Here we're in the RPA, or the Reasonable Pokemon Association. We are here in their Aracuda division. They have a Cramorant division, which these two divisions are divided among skill levels. I got placed in the lower division of the two, Aracuda, because I'm pretty inconsistent and bad at draft leagues, but we don't need to talk about that. But anyways, I am super duper hyped to be in this league, and I'm super duper hyped to show you all the team that I drafted. So, coming into this draft, I got the 7th overall pick, which in a draft of 16 with a snake draft format, it is like the worst positioning I could have been in, because I don't get like the immediacy of a will pick or being near a will pick. It's just a long wait regardless, and I tried to do the best I could. I wasn't sure what was going to fall to me at the first overall pick, but I I did manage to get something good and something I've been wanting to try out for a while. Coming into this, I really wanted to try to get like Chinpow or something, and well, we'll see about the something later, but first overall, I did end up getting Chinpow. So Chinpow, it hits a nice base 135 speed tier. It's a dark ice type. It's pretty much a better Weavile. Its ability Sword of Ruin lowers the defensive stats of any Pokemon on the field, and being a primarily physical attacker, those moves are going to be hitting harder, and it's really just impossible to wall because you have good coverage of Ice Spinner, Crunch, not Psycho Cut, Psychic Fangs. I think it gets Sacred Sword as well, so you can't like boost defense on it. So Chimpow is super duper good. It also gets Swords Dance, and it gets priority Sucker Punch and Ice Shard if you think you have it outpaced, or if like you're a Dragapult and say want to set up Dragon Dances in front of it. Chimpow can just Ice Shard, kill the Dragapult, and move on with its day. So I'm super duper hyped to get Chimpow. I've always wanted to try it in Gen 9. I got annihilated by a team with a Chimpow, and I'm hoping that I can like replicate some of the same magic with my own Chinpow team. So with Chinpow, I know like it's very weak to like fighting type moves. It's weak to a lot of things, being a dark ice type, two of like the worst defensive types in the game. And yeah, ice types especially. It's weak to fighting, it's weak to fire, it's weak to rock, fairy, just all these sorts of things. And one of the big weaknesses that I saw was fighting types. So I decided to pick up a nice defensive flying type in Zapdos. Zapdos is another Pokemon I've always wanted to try out. It gets Volt Switch and U-Turn, and solid base 100 speed tier. It can static paralyze fighting types like Mega Lopunny that otherwise would, I think Mega Lopunny hits base 136 or 135. It's up there with Chimpow, but if I don't fancy gambling with Chinpow, I can just always switch into Zapdos and try to get a static paralyze, so that way Chinpow always outspeeds. So, yeah, Zapdos, it also gets pressure too if I wanted to do like more of like a Corviknight type set. It gets defog to keep hazards off the field for Chinpow. And like I said, it deals really, really well with fighting types. So Chinpow having one of its major like checks being taken off the field by Zapdos is really, really good. And kind of segues me on into my next pick. Whenever I get Volt Switch now, I want to always get U-Turn. And I got a solid U-Turn user with regular Scizor. I wanted to get Mega Scizor, but regular Scizor ended up falling to me, and I decided I had to get it. I accidentally sniped one of my friends, but that's besides the point. They rebounded okay. But Scizor, it gives me an alternative physical attacker to Chinpow. It can set up sword stances and get off pretty powerful technician bullet punches. And it gets the main thing that it's after is U-turn support. See, the the reason I'm getting these two Pokemon specifically is obviously they deal with some of the Chien-Pao checks, but also it allows me to get them in, or to get Chien-Pao in for free. Scizor can get off a nice slow U-turn with that base 65 speed tier, and I can pretty much get Chien-Pao in for free if I wanted to. Scizor also gets Defog. It's a solid steel type as well, being able to take care of the fairy types and rock types that Chien-Pao would otherwise struggle with. And yeah, to to anyone like not familiar with my style of videos, you're going to hear me say "and yeah" a lot because that's really all I can say. So, well, yeah. um, Not much else I can say about Scizor. It gives me an alternative defogger if I need it in a pinch, but I don't know if I'll be using it much as a defogger. I'm mainly going to be using it probably as like a sword, as like a bulky sword stance set or a bulky pivot type Pokemon. And that'll bring us nicely on to my next pick. Now, this pick was originally Hisuian Zoroark, but I struck a deal with another coach in this league, and I managed, or if I got Hisuian Zoroark for him, he'd trade me its Nidoking because he had Garchomp on his plan and he kind of forgot about it. So I got Hisuian Zoroark and then traded it to him for Nidoking. Nidoking is one, actually no, it's not one of my favorite mons in draft. It is my favorite mon in draft. This thing is, if you haven't seen me use it, you're in for a treat. So Nidoking, it looks pretty inconspicuous on the surface. It doesn't have the best stats in the world. Base 85 speed tier, 102 attack, which is okay, but kind of mediocre compared to everything else. And it also gets like base 85 special attack. But the thing where this thing really shines is A, it has the ability Sheer Force, which multiplies the power of any move with secondary effects by 1.3 times. And it also can hold Life Orb to boost those moves even more. And if the move has a secondary effect, it doesn't take Life Orb damage. So that's fun. And that's one of the main reasons that Nidoking is great. The other main reason is this thing has coverage. It has insane coverage. It gets Earth Power, Sludge Wave, Flamethrower, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, just to name a few attacks. It also gets Superpower for Blissey, and yeah, pair this up with like a substitute set. If you catch something on a switch, say like my opponent brought in like, I don't know, like Mega Aggron or something, I could just sub up predicting them, or set up a sub, predict them to switch, and get free attacks off on whatever comes in. Is what makes this thing so good. It it has like really insane coverage and it hits really hard. You wouldn't think it with a base 85 special attack, but Life Orb plus Sheer Force boost, they really do stack up. And yeah, I'm just excited to use Nidoking, man. I am so excited to use Nidoking. As soon as I got word of this, or of that person wanting to trade this to me, I I mean, you couldn't have found a happier person in the world. Nidoking's my baby. I've won my two draft league championships. I've actually won with Nidoking on it. And I've also won it with another Pokemon that you'll see later. So, at this stage in the draft, I really wanted to get Slowbro for a teleport user to round out my defensive core, but it ended up getting sniped, and I had to pretty much think on the fly. So, for my psychic type, I got Screamtail. And also you can see like the pink highlights on there. That means they're going to be my Terra captains. So, Nidoking can Terra into like Terra Ground or Terra Poison, buff those like Earth Powers and Sludge Waves even more so, and get like a stab boost on Flamethrower, Ice Beam, or Thunderbolt if I need it. And Screamtail is going to be my defensive Terra because I really like with Terra captains, I feel like striking a nice balance between defense and offense is really, really good. And Screamtail was the best defensive mon that I could think of for this. But Screamtail, you've seen me use it in ICPL before. It's a very bulky Wish Passer, deceptionally bulky Wish Passer, I should say. Psychic Fairy type with base 111 speed, outpacing, hitting a nice speed tier that outpaces the base 110s, like Latios and Latias. And it gets a very, very good move pool, too. It gets Wish Protect, Encore, Baton Pass. It can run Calm Mindsets, Dazzling Gleam, Grass Knot, Flamethrower, Psychic, Psyshock. It gets a lot of really, really good moves, and I'm excited to be able to use it again. I'm hoping that I can do it justice with Terra this time. Next up, I got Noivern. This is the Pokemon I was alluding to with Nidoking that I won a championship with. I have a 100% league win rate with a Nidoking and a Noivern on my team. What can I say? But Noivern, it falls into kind of the same camp as Nidoking for me, in that it's a deceptionally powerful special attacker at first glance. Granted, Noivern does not have Sheer Force Life Orb access, or Sheer Force Life Orb to abuse, but Choice Specs Noivern still still hits pretty hard. It gets access to Hurricane, Boomburst, Draco Meteor. It can run Defog. It can run Switcheroo to cripple things like Blissey by tricking them like Choice Specs, and it can U-turn out, letting me bring in Chinpow or Nidoking. And that's another thing that I like about Zapdos Scizor, is it can get me Nidoking in for free. So yeah, you can see how a lot of my team is coming together. I'm trying to build this team around Chinpow to the best of my abilities. You can see that I have Zapdos and Screamtail. Zapdos, Screamtail, Noivern, Nidoking for fighting types. I have Scizor, Nidoking for rock types. I have Noivern, Nidoking for fire types, and a couple other mons later on. Actually, one other mon later on. But I'll go over how well this team centers around Chinpow later. But back to Noivern, it gives me another defog option if I don't want to run defog on Zapdos, alleviating some pressure for hazards. Helps out Chinpow that way. U-turn to bring in other Pokemon for free on a switch. Draco Meteor to hit things hard. Boomburst to hit things hard. Air Slash or Hurricane to hit things hard. It's an overall good Pokemon, and it also gets Infiltrator to go through substitutes and screens. So, yeah. And it also does hit a nice base 123 speed tier, giving me something between Screamtail and Chimpow to just kinda give me a nice set of like fast Pokemon. Next up, I decided to get another fast Pokemon. I needed a fire type at this stage in the draft, and I just decided to get Darmanitan. So Darmanitan base 95 speed, and it hits insanely hard with sheer force boosted flare blitzes off that base 140 attack stat. This Pokemon is like an insane wall breaker. like you would not even know. If you thought Chinpow was good, this thing's pretty damn good too. It gets U-turn access as well, which is important to note. So you can see a general theme of this team. Momentum. Momentum just to get in other threats and just keep the game in my favor. And Darmanitan could also run like funny Zen mode sets. Granted, it's not as good as like Galar Darmanitan Zen mode set, but I could bring it like in a week 9 game or whatever, or just like a final week game where it doesn't matter. But I'm not sure if I'd do it. I am not sure if I'd do it yet. Uh, but Darmanitan does give me a fire type, giving me another option to check like bug types for Chinpow, or bug and steel types for Chinpow, giving me like a more offensive approach than Noivern or Zapdos for bug types. And yeah, I don't really have much to say about Darmanitan. I used it in a league like a couple years back, but I I was only in it for like 2 weeks. I was a relief coach for like 2 weeks. I just needed to wimp the team to the finish line. I got a bit of hack. I got a bit of hacks like against me, so that didn't help. But Darmanitan was pretty fun to use. It was really, really powerful. And I think like having a sheer force offensive core is going to be hilarious to have. Next up, I'm going to get into one of my two low tier picks. Yes, one of my two. Um, because my last pick is going to be a mid high tier pick. Mid to high tier pick. I'd say mid tier pick. But next up is probably one of the coolest mons I've ever discovered in like a draft league. So for context on how I managed to find this Pokemon, I I'm watching the BBR, the Breejex Battle Royale League. I think that's what it is. But I'm watching the BBR League, and so the two main players I watch are PokeMD and Envy. And Envy picked up Bramblegast and over Brute Bonnet in trading. And I really started to look at Bramblegast, and it checks a lot of boxes that are really, really cool for a grass type. It gets rapid spin access, it's a base 90, it gets immunity to wind moves, strength sap access, and it gets spikes. So I get another hazard setter, another hazard remover, strength sap access, and immunity to like hurricane. So that's a pretty cool Pokemon to get. It gives me a grass type and a ghost type. Goes for a fighting immunity and a spin blocker. If you're like new to competitive Pokemon, Rapid Spin's like a 50 base power normal type move, and ghost types are immune to normal type moves. So yeah, but Bramblegast is a super duper cool Pokemon, and I'm going to be excited to use it if I bring it at all. Same thing with my next Pokemon, which is Audino. Audino was another low tier normal type Wish Passer. A lot of the low tier normal types are Wish Passers, especially the viable ones, but this will let me alleviate some pressure on Screamtail, so that way it's not forced to run Wish Protect every week. And I think that's going to be important, especially for a Terra Screamtail. Terra Screamtail can fill like a lot of roles all at once. I can run it offensive if I want to with Calm Mind, now that I have Audino to be the cleric of the team. And yeah, this is why I really like having two clerics. Audino can also keep the team healthy with Wish. It has like a solid HP stat, and the wishes will heal a lot, especially on like Scizor or Zapdos. I think. I'm, I don't know, I'm recording this on one take like I always do, and it's like 12:20 a.m. So that's all I know. It also gets knockoff access. Yeah, it gets knockoff access. So it can remove heavy duty boots from other Pokemon, or it can remove rocky helmets for Chinpow to just go crazy. But mainly removing heavy duty boots will let things get chipped down so that way Chinpow or Nidoking could come in and just wreck them. And even Darmanitan. But that's odd. No, I mainly got it for the Wish Passer and just to alleviate pressure on Screamtail because I want to use more than one Screamtail set every game. And finally, my draft all comes together with Keldeo. I was looking at water types to replace Slowbro and nothing was really calling to me. And then I found Keldeo. Keldeo, it doesn't give me like a news speed tier, but it gives me something between Zapdos and Screamtail. So that's pretty nice for my team. But it gives me a water fighting type, and it gives me a solid special wall breaker to pair up with Nidoking. I have Chinpow Darmanitan for like physical wall breakers, and I have Keldeo Nidoking for special wall breakers. There's not many things that this team like isn't afraid of. Dare I say there's nothing this team is afraid of. Keldeo also gets flip turn. There's another like hint at like me really lacking momentum on this team. Flip turn allows me to just pivot into like Chinpow, or I can pivot into my defensive pivots, which can pivot into like Chinpow or Nidoking, or back into Keldeo. Like the pivot, like the pivot core on this team is really good. I think it's the best pivot team I've ever had, and Keldeo gets like pretty solid coverage. It gets like I think it gets Air Slash, I think, and it also gets Hidden Power because this week has Hidden Power unbanned. So I can run HP Electric or HP Grass to cover those bulky water types. And I can go Sacred Sword, Scald, Surf, stuff like that. And I can run Flip Turn to pivot. I know I mentioned that earlier. Toxic to try and cripple like defensive Pokemon. Keldeo's bulk is pretty underrated, and that's honestly kind of why I thought it was a pretty good pick for the team. Solid bulks, very good offensive wall breaker. It's pretty much a jack of all trades. Like, I think this thing has like base 70 HP, base 70 something HP, and then base 90 in the defenses. So it doesn't have bad bulk at all. I could stand to have a bulkier water, but all the other water fighting types, they, well, all got taken. Quaquaval got taken, and then Urshifu Rapid got taken, but Urshifu Rapid was a bit too expensive for me. But I'm satisfied with Keldeo. Gives me a special wall breaker to pair up with Nidoking, gives me a flip turn user, and gives me a water type along with a fighting type. Strong fighting types pair up nicely with Chinpow, and just realized you've been seeing this control thing. I don't I don't know what to do. This is why you don't use Microsoft PowerPoint, friends. But oh well. Uh you can probably live with that. But so going over my team, like just as like the big picture here. I am super duper satisfied with my team. I've never really tried to build around one specific Pokemon. This is the first time I've done that, and I think I'll like what I see. So, Chinpow, I have ways to get it in. Zapdos can Volt Switch, Scizor can U-turn, Screen Tail can Baton Pass, Noivern can U-turn, Darmanitan can U-turn, Keldeo can Flip Turn. I have ways to get it in. It's weak to fire types, no problem. I have Keldeo and Nidoking and the Noivern to defensively and offensively check them. Weak to bug types, no problem. I have Zapdos, I have Noivern, I have Darmanitan. Weak to fighting types, Screamtail, Zapdos, Nidoking, Noivern. Weak to fairy types, I don't know. Scizor, Nidoking, and Darmanitan. Weak to steel types. Let's see. Zapdos can defensively check it. Nidoking can offensively check. Keldeo checks it. Scizor can defensively check. Let's see here. What's another weakness of this? Or of Chinpow? Um, no, the truth is staring me right in the face, but yeah. But you get the you get the general picture. I have defensive and offensive checks for every type weakness Chinpow has. And I can remove stealth rocks and stuff from my side of the field with Zapdos, Scizor, Bramblegast, and Noivern. I can set my own hazards with Nidoking, Screamtail, and Bramblegast. And I can try to keep those hazards up with Bramblegast spin blocking. And I'm fairly certain Noivern has taunt as well to stop them from using defog, which is another cool option that this team has. But overall, I'm super duper excited for this draft. I honestly think I have the best team in the league. And I I don't even feel like that's me just saying that. I genuinely feel like I do have one of the best teams in the league. There's a couple other good teams that could give me a run for my money, but I have like a pretty damn powerful team. Chinpow, Nidoking, Darmanitan, Keldeo is the offensive core, with a pretty damn good defensive core with Zapdos, Scizor, Screamtail. Cool utility mons with Bramblegast and Keldeo, and Noivern, obviously. This team just has pretty much everything you could want in a draft week team. I think it has like a bit of a rock weakness, I think, but with a Scizor and a Nidoking and like a Keldeo, I think I'm okay in terms of being weak to rock. I think I have, plenty of checks to it. So anyways, that is going to be my team for the Reasonable Pokemon Association, or the RPA. I am I don't know when week one's gonna be. It's probably gonna be like this week, I'm not sure. But I will catch you all in week one whenever that happens. So peace out, and well, see you later.